Patricia Gibson, I apologise.
Chair, I'm very happy to speak in this debate, and I want to thank most sincerely my honourable friend from Glasgow East for bringing this important debate forward. Madam Chair, I last spoke on this issue in February of this year, and many of the problems that have been highlighted today have been repeated. Now, I heard we know about the very negative experiences these assessments have, and I know that certainly from my constituents in North Ayrshire and Arran. But the honourable member from North Swindon talked about the system having come on leaps and bounds. Well, I'm afraid that when 59% of assessments are overturned on appeal, I'm afraid that doesn't sound like leaps and bounds to me, and it certainly doesn't feel like leaps and bounds to those who are victims of the system, and I use that word advisedly. The fact that the system as it currently operates is completely failing the vulnerable who rely upon it is borne out by the current DWP committee inquiry, and some appalling and shameful experiences have come to light, and we've heard about much of that today in this chamber. We have reports, as we've heard, of assessors not being sufficiently qualified to carry out assessments, with the assessor not possessing sufficient medical expertise of the medical condition being assessed, physiotherapists, as we've heard, assessing mental health problems, claimants feeling that the responses in assessments are not recorded accurately, the assessment methods varying widely in quality, and those assessed, and this comes up a lot, those assessed feeling that they are simply not being listened to, and a lack of understanding of disability and the hidden impact of mental health challenges. And anybody who doubts this or rejects this analysis has to find another reason why so many DWP decisions are successfully appealed against and won 59%. That figure on its own clearly shows that the initial decisions are very often wrong. Very often, in the majority of cases, I really can't give way because so many members have taken far more time than courtesy permitted. However, I can tell you, and I know this from my constituents who have been through this process, that lodging an appeal is a huge cause of stress and anxiety and does nothing to improve the health and well-being of those who go through this procedure. Indeed, many simply give up, feeling abandoned and betrayed by a system that they believed would have been there in their time of need when they need support most. These assessments are so traumatic for some people that they may end up being hospitalised, they may have to increase their medication, and in some cases they may even attempt suicide, as the Honourable Member for Glasgow East pointed out. And he also very eloquently pointed out that around half of ESA claimants have a mental health condition, but the system actively seems to discriminate against those living with such conditions. The system clearly is not fit for purpose, and no amount of pretence at how it's improved. It may well have improved, but that is no comfort to the people who live with these decisions day in and day out. The impact of this flawed system on those who are disabled can be absolutely profound. Work by the Scottish Government found that between 7,000 and 10,000 disabled people per year are affected by the removal of their support. And the SNP Scottish Government has completely mitigated the hated bedroom tax, saving 40,000 disabled people in Scotland who are claiming ESA from this hated and unjust tax. And I would ask the Minister to reflect on the fact that as she seeks to make improvements in the system, and I trust that she will, I would ask her to remember the UN's Committee on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, who have slammed the government on their record on these matters. In contrast to the stressful, often humiliating assessments poorly carried out currently, when Scotland has control over some of these benefits, it won't have control over work capability assessments because ESA has not been devolved. But when it does have control over some of these benefits, there will be an end to the current tick box assessments currently used, which cannot and do not take proper account of complex conditions. And I want to say something quite important here, Madam Chair. We've heard several times this afternoon people talking about the principle of assessment is very important, that these assessments are actually very important. But what I didn't hear anybody say was that they should be carried out by private companies. If you believe these assessments should be carried out by private companies, then you should be prepared to come here and defend that decision. The fact is, these assessments are carried out by private companies, and private companies, by their very nature, are driven by the profit motive. That's the end of the story. When you're assessing people's mental health conditions, The profit motive cannot be a factor in the equation, and I would ask the Minister to consider that extremely carefully. Now, time prevents me from continuing, but I would urge the Minister to seriously look at this system and give it a complete overhaul. And I hope that she will feed back to the Government the very real concerns expressed by so many people in the Chamber today.
Andrew.